I'm 28 now, and I've had some rough experiences in my life. But there's one night I still think about sometimes when I'm trying to sleep. It doesn't come back like a movie. It comes back in pieces. A sound, a feeling. That quiet kind of fear where nothing has happened yet, but your body already knows something isn't right. This was when I was 16, and it was one of my first real babysitting jobs for someone outside my family. My mom trusted them. Their mom trusted me. It felt safe by default, you know? The kind of situation where everyone assumes nothing bad could possibly happen because it's a nice home in a nice area. It was early winter, already getting dark by 5. Their house sat on a corner lot in a calm neighborhood where every lawn looked trimmed and every porch had warm yellow lights. When my mom dropped me off, the parents were rushing a little but still polite. The dad joked that their son, Oliver, was low maintenance, which I later realized parents always say. The mom showed me around quickly. Kitchen, bathroom, snacks, bedtime at 9:30. Then she paused at the back door and said, almost casually, "We always keep this locked, both locks." She pointed to the regular lock and then the deadbolt above it. I nodded like, of course, obvious. In my head, I was already thinking about the movie I'd watch after he slept. Oliver was 7. Quiet, thin kid, big eyes. Not rude, just watchful. The kind of kid who looks at you like he's thinking more than he says. We played a board game first. He didn't really laugh or get excited, just moved his pieces slowly, like he was focused on something else. A couple times he looked past me toward the hallway, and I actually turned once, thinking someone was there. Nothing was. I remember teasing him, asking if he was planning his next move. He just shrugged and said, "I don't like when it's dark in the hall." I told him the lights were on, and he said, "Yeah, but sometimes they turn off." I assumed he meant at night or something and didn't dig into it. Dinner was simple. His mom had left pasta in a container. He ate quietly at the table instead of in front of the TV, even though I told him it was fine. Every little sound from the house made him glance up. The heater kicking on, a car outside, even the fridge hum. Kids get scared of random stuff, so I didn't think much of it. Still, I noticed it. Bedtime came, and he asked if I could leave his door open. Not all the way, just enough. His room was upstairs at the end of the hall. There was a small bathroom across from it, and a closet with those sliding doors that never fully align. He had a nightlight shaped like a moon that gave off a pale blue glow. I read him a short story. He didn't interrupt or ask questions. When I stood up to leave, he grabbed my sleeve lightly and asked, "If I call you, you'll come, right?" I laughed and said, "Of course, that's my job." He didn't smile back. He just let go and laid down. I went downstairs and checked my phone, then remembered the back door. I walked over and locked the bottom lock. I even tested the handle. It felt secure. For a second, I looked at the deadbolt, but my brain did that lazy thing where it says, "It's fine, the main lock is enough." I turned off the kitchen light and went to the living room, putting on some quiet show. Maybe 30 or 40 minutes passed. The house had that deep silence homes get at night, where every little creak sounds louder than it should. I was halfway paying attention to the TV when I heard soft steps above me. Slow, careful. I figured Oliver needed water or something. Then I heard them stop. Not continue, just stop. I waited for him to call my name, but he didn't. A minute later, he appeared at the stairs. He didn't come down fully. He just stood there holding the railing. I asked what was up. He said, very quietly, "I think someone walked in the hall." I told him it was probably me he heard earlier, or the house making noise. He shook his head. "No, it was after you went down." I walked him back to his room and did the usual check, like a responsible babysitter pretending to be brave. Closet, under bed, bathroom, nothing. I even joked that if a monster was there, it owed rent. That got a tiny smile out of him. I tucked him in again and left, but when I stepped into the hallway, I had this weird feeling, like the air was heavier. Hard to explain. I told myself I was being dramatic. Old houses make noise. Kids imagine things. That's it. Still, as I went back downstairs, I caught myself listening a little harder than before. And that was before anything actually happened. I had just sat back on the couch when I heard something again. Not footsteps this time, more like a soft, dragging sound from upstairs, like fabric brushing a wall. It was faint, and if the TV volume was any higher, I probably wouldn't have noticed. I muted the TV and listened. The house went quiet. Too quiet. The kind where your ears start filling the silence with imagined noises. Then, Oliver called my name. Not loudly, not a yell, just a shaky, "Chris," from upstairs. Something in the way he said it made me stand up immediately. I didn't even grab my phone at first. I just went to the stairs and started up, telling myself to stay calm because kids pick up on fear fast. Halfway up, I noticed the hallway light was off. I was sure I left it on for him. I even remembered thinking the bulb was too bright. I reached the top and turned it back on. The light flickered once before staying steady. That flicker did something to my stomach I didn't like. Oliver's door was open wider than before. I stepped in and saw him sitting up in bed, blanket pulled to his chin. His eyes were wet like he'd been quietly crying. I asked what happened. He didn't answer right away. He just looked toward his closet. I followed his gaze. The sliding closet door was open a few inches. I knew I closed that earlier. I told myself maybe it didn't latch right. Cheap doors do that. I walked over and slid it open fully. Clothes, boxes, shoes, nothing else. I even pushed the hanging jackets aside. Empty. I closed it again and turned to him, saying, "See? All clear." He shook his head slowly. He was whispering. That made me pause. I asked who. Oliver said, "The man. He said to stay in bed." I felt that cold ripple down my back, but I still tried to logic it away. Maybe a dream, maybe outside noise, maybe the neighbor's TV. I told him no one was here and he was safe. I stayed by his bed a minute until his breathing calmed. Then I stepped out again. This time, instead of going downstairs, I stayed in the hallway. I don't know why. Something just told me to. I stood there listening. The heater kicked on, pipes ticked, normal stuff. I almost laughed at myself. Then I heard it, a very soft click from downstairs, like metal touching metal. My brain didn't label it right away, but my body did. I walked to the top of the stairs and looked down. From where I stood, I could see part of the kitchen and the back door. The door looked closed, but something felt off. I went down slowly, each step careful so it wouldn't creak. When I reached the bottom, I walked to the kitchen and looked straight at the back door. The bottom lock was still turned, but the deadbolt above it was unlocked. I stared at it, confused. I knew I hadn't touched that one earlier. I told myself maybe the parents forgot. Maybe it was always like that. But then I noticed the door wasn't fully shut in its frame, just slightly off, like it had been closed gently, not pushed tight. That's when the fear stopped being imagination. I backed away from the door and listened. The house felt different now, like someone else was inside it with me. I don't know how to explain that feeling if you've never had it. It's not a sound, it's awareness. Then, from upstairs, Oliver screamed. A real scream this time. I ran. I don't even remember deciding to run. My legs just did it. I took the stairs 2 at a time and rushed to his room. He was standing on his bed, pointing at the corner near his dresser. At first, I saw nothing. Then I noticed the shadow. It didn't match the furniture. There was someone pressed between the wall and the side of the dresser, half hidden. A man, crouched, trying to stay still. His eyes were on me, wide, like he was surprised I saw him. Everything after that moved fast. I grabbed Oliver and pulled him against me. I didn't say anything dramatic, I just moved. I backed out of the room and shut the door, then rushed into the bathroom across the hall and locked it. My hands were shaking so badly it took 2 tries to dial 911. I whispered to the operator, gave the address, said there was a man in the house. She told me to stay quiet and keep the door locked. Oliver was crying into my shirt, but trying to be quiet. I could hear movement in the hallway outside, slow steps, then the sound of the stairs. He was leaving. A few minutes later, distant sirens, the longest minutes of my life. When police finally came, they cleared the house. The man was gone. They said he likely slipped out the back when he realized I'd seen him. No forced entry, no broken window, just that unlocked deadbolt. Oliver's parents came home to flashing lights outside their safe house. His mom cried. His dad kept asking about the locks. I admitted I only locked one. He didn't yell. He just looked pale. The police later said it was probably someone checking doors in the neighborhood and finding one easy entry. I keep thinking about one thing, though. Oliver said the man whispered to him to stay in bed, which means he was already in that room while I was downstairs watching TV. I never babysat in a stranger's house again after that. And when a kid says someone is there, I don't brush it off anymore. Sometimes they notice danger before adults do, and sometimes a quiet house isn't empty at all. The end.